Welcome to Deep Thought. People may hate you for doing something they want to do. I'm going to tell you what, this is something to really think about. Sometimes we've all probably run into that person or persons, multiple people, depending on what you have, that just dislike you. They don't like you. They don't like you. And it could be for whatever reason. But one of the reasons a person may hate you is you are doing something and living a life that you have, but they don't have. Let me use the example of content creators. Some of the trolls that will come on somebody's comments and say something or talk trash about somebody, they just hate that person because that person's popular, because that person is getting attention, because that person has charisma. I remember there was this website I got on. It was years ago. If I called the name, people might recognize it. And I called a person who was a proprietor of that website. But there was a young man on that site that really just didn't like me. And I wasn't doing anything special. I didn't own the website. This was before we had video channels and something, so I just had to write something. And there was a guy who just didn't like me. He was just trying to put me down, trying to put my books down and everything, even though he never read them. And some women on the site actually called him out. They said, "Hey, you're just jealous." And he actually said one time, he said, because I had some charisma on there. And he actually said that was a bad thing. And that's when I really thought about it. He wished he had that charisma. Like if you meet, like you see some people, they'll hate somebody because that person has something that they don't. Indeed, a lot of times, if you look at anything, like if somebody's talking some trash about artists, right? Say they're talking some trash about artists. Just ask them. If you know them, just say, "You like artists, don't you? You want to be an artist, don't you?" Because one reason that people will really hate you is that you got something that they want to have or that they're afraid to bring forward. They can hate you because you decide to write that book. And they'll say, "Well, this ain't all that," but they wish they wrote that book. They can hate you for having a relationship with if you're a man with a very beautiful woman, if you're a woman with a very handsome man, and they hate you and stuff. That's because they wish they had those people or someone similar or just being popular. It could be whatever. You could be generally successful in life, and there's going to be somebody who's hating you. I'm like, what you hating them for? They worked hard to be successful. In fact, you get a lot of people like that. In fact, I had talked before on my business channel, say there's no reason to hate millionaires or billionaires. Right now in the public thing, we got all this hatred for billionaires. But there's actually some billionaires, and I can understand that to an extent. But then there's some billionaires, they actually giving away money. They helping people. They paying off bills and everything. They giving people money. They trying to empower people. You actually have some who are doing that. When whatever the case, however they got there, why hate them when you trying to get there yourself? Let's be real. Most people want to be millionaires at the very least. Most people want to be millionaires, so why hate that person that worked hard to get there when you're trying to get there too? You know? Why? Think about it. I want you to think about it. Think about it. And then think about all the stuff that you're doing, and you might get some hate for it. You might think you're doing well and everybody gonna love you for it. Maybe a couple of your best friends might love you for it, but somebody else is going to dislike you. And like I remember way back, and I mentioned this woman before because I remember that's the story I had told. I might have told it somewhere. She was a woman, a real life Barbie, who worked out at one of the gyms I worked at. And she was actually very friendly. She always talk. And even though I signed up her own office, her whole entire office, she would always come by herself. And she was a professional dog trainer, and she would use the word bitch in the proper context. She would always call female dogs, well, bitch, that's what they are, all right? Not bad bitch like some woman walking around all fine. And she was talking about this male dog tried to mate her when she was not feeling it. And she said, the bitch killed him. But I remember a couple women in her office said specifically they hated her. And I was like, they hated her? Because I talked to the woman. I used to talk to her all the time. Even when I had left that particular gym, I found out she asked about me. And she was just real friendly. She was one of the sweetest people I ever remember. She was genuine. She would just come and work out, do her thing, be real quiet. But they hated her because she was very beautiful. She was very beautiful, like legitimately beautiful. When I say life-size Barbie, life-size Barbie. But they weren't as attractive. Let's put it like that. They were not as attractive. But they hated her. Well, did they hate her because of her personality? Well, I got to know her personality. She was actually a good, very good person. As I said, one of the best people I've met in my life, just genuinely friendly. Just a genuinely friendly person. But they hated her because she had beauty and they didn't. So you got to think about that. You got to think about that. Even when somebody's showing you hate, you might be doing something, doing well, becoming successful, and you thinking some people gonna like that. No, they not. No, they not. I remember there was a movie, it was called Charlie. And this mentally disabled young man had been given, he went through some procedure that increased his intelligence. And people on his job would laugh at him. But then once his intelligence increased and he was able to do a certain task that he couldn't do before, all of a sudden, like most of the guys were cheering for him. There was one guy who didn't cheer for him and ended up getting him fired. And I'm like, wow. And I always thought about that. You start doing stuff or start accomplishing stuff, sometimes somebody is not gonna like it. But it's really because they can't do it. They can't be the artist you can, the writer you can. They can't, you becoming more successful, making money, they can't do that. They get mad at you because you doing some things. And I've had that at different levels myself. You might have it. Just keep that in mind. Just keep that in mind. You doing something in life. Everybody's not going to be like, yeah, they love you. But it's only because they can't do it. There's many things, whatever. In fact, that tells you if they hate you for something that you're doing, that's probably something that they wish they had. That maybe they wish they had more charisma. Maybe they wish they could cook the way you cook. Maybe they wish they could draw the attention of the opposite sex the way you could. They usually wish you had it. They wish they had it, rather. Yeah. So understand that. Keep that in mind. Somebody showing some hate, you probably got something within you that they wanted. They wish they had. All right. So I want y'all to think about that. Really think about that. All right. So anyway, that's all I have for today. I'll get back with y'all. Peace and blessings.